I am back with another Patreon requested video, and I'm so happy that so many of them are requesting book videos. I'm not mad at it. Hey there, creepy peeps. My name is Nightmare Maven, and welcome back to my channel. Just really quick, because I know there's been a lot of patron requested videos this month, I added that perk back to my Patreon. The link is in the link tree in the description of the video, in every video. Obviously not required, just in case you wanted to check it out. So I got a request to talk about some of my favorite audiobooks that I've listened to. So instead of just doing it as a straight up list of my favorites, don't worry, that will be part of the video. I thought I would use the format of like a tag to lead my video and discussion. So I will link the source where I found the questions in the description if you want to look for yourself. So first is, have I always listened to audiobooks? And the answer is no. I'm still relatively new to listening to audiobooks, probably like the last year and a half or so. Not because I had anything against them at all, but with all of the subscription services and like library apps you can use, it's just a lot more accessible and more practical in my opinion than buying audio CDs. Also, it's been a lot more beneficial to help me read more each month, which leads me into the next prompt, which is my favorite thing about audiobooks. So as I mentioned, they help me get a lot more reading done. I very often wish I didn't actually need sleep, like legitimately didn't need sleep, because I would use that 7 to 8 hours to catch up on reading, shows, movies. It would be fantastic. Alas, I do need sleep, so audiobooks really help. I pretty much exclusively will get audiobooks for books that I have a physical copy of, or I have it on an e-reader. I can keep reading as I'm doing other tasks. So I'll listen to audiobooks on my way to and from work, usually on my lunch break at work, and while I'm doing other like mindless activities like cleaning, laundry, baking, whatever. Next is if I have any least favorite things about audiobooks. Really the only thing I guess is that I do have 2 different audiobook subscription services. I use the library app as well for anything else, because you're literally just checking out books and you have a time limit on those ones, but that's probably like my least favorite thing, that I have to have multiple apps and stuff. All right, I skipped a few questions here so I can get right into some of my favorite audiobooks that I've ever listened to. I'm gonna try and keep this mostly horror, with the exception of, I think, 1. These aren't in any particular order, but I'll start with a horror book since it's spooky season, and that is Dead Silence. The book is by S.A. Barnes, but it is narrated by Lauren Ezzo. This is one of the best horror audiobooks I have ever listened to, and it is fully because of Ezzo's narration. I've yet to listen to a horror audiobook where the narrator sounded so terrified while reading the terrifying moments in the book, but they did a great job of changing their like pitch, reading speed, volume during scary moments, and really just got my heart racing. They genuinely sounded terrified, which made me genuinely terrified as I was listening. Amazing, absolutely amazing. You just like listen before bedtime, like kind of in a dim room. Guaranteed you're gonna have nightmares. Next is a nonfiction, but I know a lot of you guys might be interested in this one because it's Yours Cruelly, Elvira, which is Cassandra Peterson's memoir of her life. But I feel like when it comes to biographies, memoirs, that sort of thing, it's always more fun if the subject is reading it. So listening to Cassandra Peterson's like wild, kind of eccentric, kind of crazy, always entertaining life was so much more fun because she was reading it, and only she can deliver her brand of humor. So hearing her wisecracks and jokes throughout the book, it just elevated it because she was delivering it. And it feels like they're in the room with you, telling you their story as you're listening to it. So I just think it's really effective as an audiobook. And if you're interested at all in reading that book, definitely get the book, because there are like pictures and things like that, which are also fun. But I would listen along as well, because it's just fun to have her tell you her story. Okay, this is the one not horror book in the bunch, but I have to mention it because if I were ranking this, this would probably be my favorite audiobook I've ever listened to thus far. And technically it's 2, but it's the same narrator, and the narrator is the whole point of this. So Peter Kenny, I think, narrates all of the Witcher books. I've only listened to the first 2 in the series so far, but like I said, easily favorite audiobooks I've ever listened to so far. This man put his whole self into narrating this book. Like, he was doing all these crazy and unique voices for all the monsters and creatures that Geralt encounters, and also did the singing for Dandelion. There's also a particular creature that Geralt encounters that sings as a form of language, and of course Peter Kenny was doing the singing for that also. It's fully amazing. You could have had me listen to that without giving me any other information and told me it was a full cast, and I would have believed you. Okay, back to the horror thrillers. I have to mention You by Carolyn Kepnes. It's narrated by Santino Fontana, and it had me bugging the most. As you guys probably know, even if you haven't read the book, if you've seen the series, it's from the point of view of a serial killer, and you're hearing his thoughts and his narration throughout. And as you can kind of tell from the title, he says you a lot, like, you know, as he's observing his next potential victim, he's like, you're doing this, I see you do this, like, and like the way he talks and refers to the girl he's gonna murder, just saying you a lot. So listening to it really made a bitch paranoid over here. Like, it was extra creepy to listen to it. Like, I was legit looking over my shoulder for several days after. Next, you guys are probably gonna click away from the video at this point because I will legit not stop talking about The Last House on Needless Street. You can't make me. I won't stop talking about it. The audiobook for this one is narrated by Christopher Ragland, who also did an amazing job doing the different voices for the multiple POVs throughout the book. My particular favorite was the voice he did for the cat, who is a character in this book, and we have chapters from the cat's POV. If that doesn't convince you to read it, I don't know what will. I can't fully say what I want to say because of spoilers, and that's what's I love so much about this book, and it's also super duper frustrating about this book. Glad it was one person doing the voice the whole time. Sometimes with audiobooks, when you have multiple points of view, you may get 2 narrators doing different ones. The single narrator really fits the theme of it. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. If you know, you know. If that at all convinced you to read this, it's our December pick for Creepy Book Clubs. You should definitely fucking read it. Even if you don't come to the Creepy Book Club in December for this one, just fucking read it. It's so good. And finally, look at me recommending a Stephen King book right now. Oh my God, who is she? Dolores Claiborne, narrated by Frances Sternhagen, was perfect for this particular book because of the premise of the book. If you don't know about Dolores Claiborne, which I didn't until all of y'all suggested that I read it, the premise of the book is Dolores is accused of murder. She goes to the police station to tell her story, and they're recording her testimony. And so the audiobook is perfect for that. There are no chapter breaks in the book at all. It's literally just meant to be Dolores there telling her story. So listening to the audiobook is like almost a requirement for this. It's because of the premise of the book, it is the perfect way to read this book. There you have it. Those are some of my favorite, mostly horror audiobooks that I've listened to. Please share in the comments what your favorite are also, because we all need to add to our TBR all the time, constantly. That's what these videos are for. If you enjoyed this video, if you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Become a Creepy Peep today. It's spooky season. The thunder is booming outside, as I'm sure you heard through most of the video. So, I mean, come on. I got the ambiance. Subscribe. I post 2 new videos every week. I do live streams, collabs, all that fun stuff. So I'll see you very soon with a stream or a video or something. I don't know what's next, depending on when this video goes up. Until then, stay strange. Bye.